Okay, everybody, what we're going to do, we're going to get right into the big award here, and that's Fighter of the Year. You, the fans, the listeners, the fans of the fighters voted. And this year, a great response out there who was voted for Fighter of the Year. But this year we go to the UK, and it's actually the pound-for-pound top fighter in the UK right now. And he is the current IBF super middleweight champion of the world. Carl Froch, the ATG Radio 2012 Fighter of the Year, voted by you, the fans. He took it home, and I'm looking at it right now. He had 26% of the votes, beat out Nonito Donaire. They were going head-to-head for the past few weeks, but Carl Froch is there. Carl Froch, unfortunately, cannot be here with us tonight, but we are going to bring on one of 2012's best guests, one of the best guests we had here in 2012. Very informative, very insightful. He is, if not the best, he is arguably, if not the best promoter in the UK right now. Man who is holding things down, running things down at Matchroom Sport over in the UK, and we welcome him back here to accept on behalf of Carl Froch, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
How you doing? That was a lovely build-up. Do I get an award as well, or is it just Carl?
You get an award as well. You get best promoter just for that. You get the
all right. Don't worry about that. No, listen, I'm delighted to receive it on Carl's behalf. You know, you said a couple of things you said in that introduction was so important. Was it was voted for by the fans. You know, that means a lot to any fighter. It means a lot to a promoter. But I know Carl will be over the moon. You know, it was a huge gamble, the Lucian Butte fight, because it was one of those nights, one of those fights where if it goes wrong, it's potentially the end of your career. And it was a scintillating performance and a great night for British boxing. So I want to thank everyone for voting for Carl because, you know, I know that the cliche, it means a lot to him, gets bandied about a lot, but it really does mean a lot when he gets voted for by us.
And I think that's what it's all about. I think it's, a lot of old boxing writers, they get to decide who's Fighter of the Year, who goes into the Hall of Fame. And there's no disrespect to them, but in this case, it's the fans. And, you know, like I said, a huge turnout for Fighter of the Year. And there were some great fighters in there. I know on behalf of myself, I wanted to ask you, Eddie, what can you give us as far as what's in store for Carl Froch in 2013? We're hearing Mikkel Kessler, Lucian Butte, Andre Ward. We're hearing all these names. Is there anything you can give us of what's being worked on right now for Carl Froch in 2013?
Well, it's all go, and, you know, the Christmas period was a busy time for us. We were really working. Carl Froch is our priority right now. You know, we've made the Devon Alexander-Kell Brook fight. We've made the Gavin Rees versus Adrian Broner fight. So Carl Froch is, you know, really someone who we've got to get that sorted as soon as possible. Our mandatory is Adonis Stevenson, and we're going to be talking to Yvonne Michelle this week to look at that opportunity as well. You know, obviously he's worked hard to win the IBF title. We don't want it going anywhere, so we may defend against Stevenson in the interim. Lucian Butte still wants the fight. You know, we get on very well with his team, and if the fight makes sense for everybody, you know, financially and from a career perspective, then that's something we could look at. But the burning desire for Carl is to fight Mikkel Kessler. You know, and he wants to avenge the loss, but stylistically that's such a great fight. We're speaking to Caddy Sowland at the moment, trying to see if we can get that made. So really all three of them are sort of equal in chance in terms of which one will happen next. Probably slightly towards Kessler because that's the one that everyone seems to want, the broadcasters included. So big fights for Carl Froch. You know, I know that Andre Ward's spoken a lot lately about, you know, us, why don't we give him a call to make the fight? We've been calling him out. We haven't been calling him out. You know, it's a natural fight if Carl was to beat someone like Mikkel Kessler, is to a rematch with Andre Ward. Andre Ward is a brilliant fighter, so tough to beat. I believe that the night would go very differently in the UK, you know, but something, we've got to earn that shot back, and the fans have got to believe that we deserve that shot, and we could, you know, produce a different performance and a different result. And a victory over Kessler would set up a really interesting clash with Ward, because you look at Andre Ward and you think realistically, what are Andre Ward's options right now? You know, there isn't many. So obviously he's got an unfortunate injury and an operation coming up, but it's interesting times in the super middleweight division, and I'm just so pleased that after so many years of being, you know, I know Glenn Johnson's a road warrior, but Carl is also a road warrior, and going out and having these huge fights successively, that now he's getting the acclaim that he really deserves, because he's a great, great fighter, and he's a top bloke as well.
Hey, Eddie, this is Mark Dalton. I want to ask about Andre Ward's situation. Andre pulled out of a fight with Kelly Pavlik. Do you kind of think Kelly Pavlik could maybe a wild card now? I mean, I guarantee there was a lot of UK fans who love to see that fight.
Yeah, I agree. Kelly Pavlik was actually someone we were looking at before the Yusuf Mack fight. I mean, he doesn't come cheap, Kelly Pavlik, and I think Kelly Pavlik's in an awkward position now, just like Andre Ward, because when you look at his options around, there isn't really many options in the super middleweight division. Kelly Pavlik isn't really an option for us right now because, if we're not going to fight Adonis Stevenson, we may end up vacating the IBF title. So we couldn't vacate the IBF title and then fight Kelly Pavlik. So the only way we'd do that is probably for a fight with Kessler. And then again, that would be a unification fight. So we'd ask the IBF for an exception there. But the Froch-Pavlik fight is a great fight, and it's one that I would have loved to have made, but it's not something that's going to be happening in the near future.
One more thing, Eddie, real quick. The announcement today, the press release went out. Tony Bellew's returning. You got Derry Matthews and Anthony Crowell rematch, which is, I think, going to be a sensational fight. Who do you have your eyes on for Bellew?
We're looking to make a final eliminator fight for the WBC. The silver champ, he's just gone up to number 3 in the rankings there. So if you look at the rankings, I believe the WBC will order a final eliminator in the next week or so. And going down the rankings, number 1 is Bernard Hopkins, who is obviously reportedly going to be fighting Tavoris Cloud. Number 2 is Edward Gutnecht, who will fight Jürgen Bremer in a WBO final eliminator. So the next 2 available are Tony Bellew and Isaac Chilemba. Failing Chilemba's approval, then it could be Grachev, but I expect one of those 2 opponents, Chilemba or Grachev, for a final eliminator for Chad Dawson.
We appreciate that. Hey, Eddie, we appreciate you stopping by. We'd love to have you. Like I said, you were one of the best guests.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Anytime, guys. And listen, people, I know you gave another award to, I think, Kugan Cassius.
Yeah.
One of our other countrymen, and people like Kugan, people like yourself, you're an integral part of the sport, and fans all around the globe, including myself, really appreciate the hard work that you guys put in. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Eddie, and make sure we're going to send an award to the Matchroom offices, man. If you could get Carl to take a picture.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll get a nice photo and send it back.
We appreciate it, Eddie. Have all the best tonight, man. Have a good time at the award ceremony.
Take care, mate. Cheers.
Take care. Happy New Year.